Hey, the first 10 minutes of that game was a fight. It was a shootout. It was two boxers throwing everything that they have and trying to knock out the other person in the first round. Mamelodi Sundowns came into that game almost on a mission to avenge that loss that they suffered to TS Galaxy a couple of weeks ago. To show TS Galaxy that, guys, you may have beaten us once, try do it again. And going up 2-0 within 10 minutes is insane. But you know what is even more insane? TS Galaxy deciding that, no, we know you guys. Nati, for some reason, this is a grudge match. We're going to come out and we're going to play. And they got their goal to make it 2-1. But you know what the challenge is? The challenge versus teams like Mamelodi Sundowns, like Orlando Pirates, it's not about the first 10 minutes. It's about whether you can stay composed, stay concentrated, or if you're going to fight, do that for 90 minutes. And that's where the advantage that Mamelodi Sundowns has in the league comes from. They're a well-worn African Champions League team. They know how to suffer, or they know how to outlast. They can play at that level for the whole game. But you know what was really smart about what Mamelodi Sundowns did in this game? Is that they overran TS Galaxy early so that they could control the game late. Well, by the time TS Galaxy realized that, hey, it's cartel, we're tired, it's done, Sundowns was still, okay, now we've gone down to gear 2 and we're just going to see out this game. You've got nothing left. Now, we can speak about the red card and say that the red card had an influence on this game, and maybe if not for that, the game would be different. But I differ a little bit, because I feel like ETS Galaxy, after beating Mamelodi Sundowns last game out, felt as though when coming into this game, they can change their approach. Last game was very respectful. It was not an open game at all. It was a back five with two people in front of them, and then you allow Sibilibili, Zajmovic and Letsualo to go forward and cause problems on the counter. But in this game, TS Galaxy decided that they were going to go back four. They were going to go to a sort of a 4-2-3-1 type of thing, similar to what Stellenbosch plays at times, where they commit 4 players and try press there, which is admirable. You understand why they want to do it, because you want to put pressure on Khoza and Suarez, who were a little bit shaky at times. You want to put pressure on Morena and Tiwani, where ETS Galaxy was getting a lot of play up the sides, beating those players. But I think the bigger problem or the biggest weakness is that you have to look out for what's happening behind you. And what's happening behind you is that Shasha and Reyners' movement was incredible in this game. You know, for some reason, TS Galaxy decided to play some sort of a high line versus Mamelodi Sundowns, and safe to say they were punished quite a bit. You see, TS Galaxy's defense wasn't the best last game out, but they suffered enough and they were doing enough to suffocate Mamelodi Sundowns. I think Sundowns scoring early changed what TS Galaxy was going to do in that game. I think TS Galaxy wanted to be on the front foot and maybe have the first punch, maybe score the first goal and then sit back. You know, last game they were defensive, they did it on a counter, they scored their goal, they sat back. Well, they sat back-ish, but they sat back. I think this time they were trying to recreate that, but instead of it being a lucky break, not a lucky break, instead of it being another counter attack, they wanted to be the guys who are pressing the button to play. Now, where TS Galaxy amazes me is now you're playing versus Mamelodi Sundowns. You've conceded multiple goals. These people have you on the back. Is there a point where you take an honorable loss and say, okay, it's 2-1, it's 3-1. Let's just relax, defend. It's not a cup game. It's not a knockout game. It's a league game. And we know when it's league games, things like your goal difference count. So right now they're on 0. They came into this game with a +3. Now they're on 0, right? Because I think they came in open. They came in cocky versus Mamelodi Sundowns instead of, again, maybe playing more respectful, knowing that the bigger team is going to come out and try crush you or to try make a statement. Now, on to Sundowns. Fast opening, fast control, relaxation. They killed TS Galaxy early. And it wasn't the goals that did it. It was the running. It was the overworking. Then when TS Galaxy decided that 10 men, we're still going to run at you, Sundowns was like, okay, run at us. So that they could play the last 25 to 30 minutes controlled. Okay, so I know I stopped the video a lot, and a lot of you are wondering, why are you asking for money? So I wanted to show you. I asked for money because I want to do more of this. Huh? But the truth of the matter is that it took over an hour in order just to render that shot. And it takes even longer when I'm doing my normal content because, guys, here's the unsung hero of the channel. And unfortunately, Shem, but the screen is broken. I have to use a second screen and the performance is not up to it. So I'd really love to upgrade things like that. And when you look over here, this is what the setup looks like. Rehenga di patlo and rehenga di green screen, which is a reality of being a South African content creator. Also, this is what people think is my studio. It's actually my house. So if you still don't know that I'm doing all of this from my home, then I don't know. But that is essentially what I want to do. More of these cool things. But I need you guys to please help me out by donating 50 Rand or more into this account. You know, we're fighting for multi-choice. And for multi-choice, but there is subscription models all over the place. And I'd love to give the biggest quality while also being able to pay my rent and do things like that. That is where your money is going. And I promise to give you only the best content that I can if you do throw something in. So I just wanted to show you guys what I want to do with your money. I want to take this South African football and fulfill my dream of taking it into the future. But thank you guys so much. Remember, this is the bank account that you deposit into. Get back into the video. They didn't break a sweat. Now, me personally, I'm a guy that would have loved Mamelodi Sundowns to have a statement game, to come out and just blow the team away, just without a shadow of a doubt. I think that would have even moved them. For some reason, Pirates occupies a certain dangerous place in our heads, or we think that those guys, because they can do 8-1 versus Gallants and what, that they are better in that regard. I would have loved Mamelodi Sundowns to come out and just show us. But my 8-1, 9-1, 10-1, just kill. But I also understand that they've got a ton of games. They've got a ton of things to do. So it's far easier to put the car back into gear 2 or gear 1 and just see out the game. The last 20 minutes of that game was dead. And that was just because Sundowns was just passing it amongst themselves, passing it at the back, doing those type of things, really managing the game, which is very important, because the difference between Sundowns and, let's say, Pirates is that Pirates could go and score the 4-1 and the last 30 minutes would be all over the place. They'd be defending, they'd be tackling, they'd be tibang, they'd be this. Sundowns was like, no, we're just going to relax and see out the game, which is incredible to see a team that can play in different phases of the game differently. And what an incredible thing that Cardoso is bringing into that team. Now, would I still want the subs to come in and be a little bit more active? I would. But you also got the sense that at any moment, if Sundowns decided to, they could have broken TS Galaxy a lot more. And maybe it was the gentlemanly thing to not go all the way. Sundowns itself do have some issues. Like, for example, Khoza and Suarez, on my show, I think it was Agent and a couple of other people, we've had a conversation where Sundowns has Rolls-Royce defenders. They don't break a sweat, they don't tackle, they don't do all of those things. But when they, and for the most part, they steal the ball. They shield you out. They're very elegant in the way they defend. But when you start pressing them and when you start giving them either more pace or more physicality, there was a point where TS Galaxy actually should have been up 2 goals in that game. They should have at least drawn 2 at some point. Zazmovic missed a sitter. There was a ball played across that they couldn't finish. So again, it's not that TS Galaxy was not a good team. But those defenders, Khoza maybe showing a little bit of his inexperience, Suarez maybe showing not communicating very well with Khoza just yet. They were exposed a couple of times. The wings were exposed a couple of times. Left back, right back, Kimang Morena on that side, Tiwani on the other side, they were exposed quite a bit. And that is something you don't want to see, especially if you're going to go play versus ES Tunis and go into the CAF, into the knockouts of CAF and knockouts of our domestic competitions. I don't think you want to see that. I think in the middle, they were okay. They were a little bit slow in the middle. Obas started the game. Unfortunately, had to come off through injury. But you could see that it was worlds apart when Mokwena stepped onto the pitch, and there's a security that he brings in Mamelodi Sundowns that allows Adams and Allende to play a lot freely going forward. So that was a glaring thing to see. So Mokwena has become a very important player after not being important at all at the beginning of the season. Up front, I still don't think Reyners and Shalulile work. But in an open game where there's spacing behind, where there's a lot of box action, you can see why coach would want both of them on. But in a quiet game, I think Reyners falls away a little bit too much for my liking. February finally got a start, but he just needs to be a little bit more comfortable on the ball. But also, I mean, he played 4 games last season, the whole season for Mamelodi Sundowns. So he is a little bit rusty in that regard, and maybe his timing, he just needs to get match timing when coming out and again be comfortable with playing the ball out. But I think Mamelodi Sundowns was well worth this win. I'm proud of TS Galaxy because they played. I'm proud of TS Galaxy because they came out and they gave Sundowns a game, right? We just need teams that can understand that you can't do that for 70 minutes, for 60 minutes. You have to do it in waves when you play versus Sundowns because they're just that much stronger. But in any case, Mamelodi Sundowns comes out with the winners. Further extends their lead, knowing that Pirates has games in hand, which is very interesting because Mamelodi Sundowns, I think they're used to this. The pressure's on Pirates. They just need to carry on doing what they always have done, stacking points and stacking points and stacking points, and making it you that have to catch them rather than them dropping points. So well done to Mamelodi Sundowns. Also, just by the way, the rate at which Mamelodi Sundowns is scoring is scary. They're coming out of this game with, 42 goals, if I'm not mistaken. 42 goals with only 18 games played up to this point. That is more than 2 goals per game. And unlike Pirates, who has the 8-1 versus Marumo in their pockets, otherwise they pretty much score at the rate that Chiefs does. Chiefs actually scored more goals. But anyway, on a per game basis, Sundowns is insane at scoring. So, well done to Coach Cardoso and that team. But I'll see you guys on the next one.